Is it normal or not to have sex in someone else's house?
It's normal, but are you talking today? No, I'm kidding. No. No, there's no one today.
So if you go to, say, your parents' house and you're staying there for like a weekend because of an event or something like that, is it normal to have sex in their house?
well,
That's a yes.
I don't know about my parents' house, but like if you go and stay anywhere and you're with a partner, don't you just do whatever you do at night time? No one else is there.
Well, what if
Probably
somebody
just
else
be
is there?
quiet.
What if you got a roommate? Hmm?
I can't say through my entire life that I haven't done that before. I'd be lying otherwise. And I know Trish, you'd be like, yeah, whatever. Let's go.
Yeah,
But it's
you
like,
hire out Airbnbs with the person that lives at the location, don't you?
oh, no, I don't purposely do that. No, but that's a really odd question, eh?
Some people like, oh, like they'll meet someone new and that person's got like a housemate, and then they're
Oh, what the
like,
hell's going
oh,
on? Hmm.
that, and then they'll be like, oh, I shouldn't be having sex because you've got a housemate and I might disturb them. Like,
But then you'd never have it.
oh, exactly. I have heard stories about people like, hiring like Airbnbs and stuff like that for the overnight rate, but then they're just going and doing a quickie and then leaving. So yeah, it's interesting. So is it normal or not to have sex at someone else's house?
I
Actually,
would.
this is a fetish as well, you know that. There are people, I know this one for a fact from my erotic community. There are people that will go and do the housing, not the housing inspections, but you know how they have open house days
Yeah,
where, yeah, so there are people that will go to open house days and then have sex at the open
I
house.
would have done that in my 20s for
Mm.
fun.
Oh, for fun,
Just for,
absolutely.
it's one of those things that you do when you're young, eh?
Yeah, just
Younger.
to just to like, experiment or something
Or
like
just to say
that.
that you've done it.
Yeah,
But yeah,
and there's
that's
people.
an interesting question. Do you know what? I wonder, Trish,
Hmm.
if people put in the comments, I would imagine that nearly everybody that I know in the hypno community would be like, that's a weird question. Of course you do. Like what?
Hmm.
No
Well,
sex. But it would surprise me. Mm.
One New Year's Eve, we got a room with a balcony, and the balcony connected like four rooms, and there was a guy and a chick up the other end, and John walked up to them, just being the friendly guy that he is, and she was sitting on top of him, and he kind of got there and then went, "Oh, sorry." I remember looking down the balcony going, "Oh, you don't sit on a guy's lap like that," because her back is to the view, you know. And I kind of looked and didn't know, didn't think anything more of it.
Trish
But then,
looked and then she looked again and then she's like, hey, hey.
I've looked and gone, "Oh no, okay, leave them two alone." And then John's gone around the corner just being friendly, saying hello. And
She's like,
then
hey.
yeah, all those guests are talking to them and goes, "Oh." I was like, "You go down the side of the balcony," and he's like, "Yeah." I'm like, "Yeah, go get yourself another drink, babe."
I would say it also has to do with whose place you're staying in because like you might be staying in a place where you feel a bit you know what I mean, and you don't.
Yeah,
So
I don't.
it's
I can
all I don't
honestly
know.
say I don't think I've ever done it at my parents' place, even when they were separated.
It was quite hard though. Like I can't comment because my parents lived at a beach house on the beach, and sometimes I can't even remember. Did I do it at the beach house? I don't know. I'm trying just to scan through all of the many thousands of men. Did I ever
Just
do
while
them at
they
the beach
got down
house?
and got their milk and bread, we got a
No.
cookie.
Oh, maybe I didn't do it at the beach house. I don't know. I don't know. It's so long ago. But if it wasn't at the beach house, it would have been like going for a walk down the beach away from mum and dad's house
Get the sand in the
on
crack.
the beach, maybe. But yeah, I don't know. This should be deleted. This one after we're finished, because I know
No.
my mum watches every one. I
Hi,
might message her,
Mum.
hey, don't watch this one, Mum, because
Hi, Mum.
I can't remember. But yeah, anyway.
So yeah,
Let's
so
just say in the
today,
last 10 years, I haven't done it at my parents' house, I guess.
ever. So today we wanted to talk about trainers training. So
Yep.
why, as trainers, we continue to train. So
Yep.
what about you? Because at the moment you're doing Stuart Walters' elite mindset training.
Yep.
So why did you choose to go and do Stuart's training?
Yep. Well, one, because Stuart's training is amazing.
Oh, Stuart's
And
just
and
awesome in
two,
general.
it's like for me, continuing education is super important. Like I would be curious as to why a trainer wouldn't want to continue training. And it'll be one thing going and doing having to do a beginner's training again, because I wouldn't go and do a basic clinical hypnotherapy diploma again myself as a trainer. But specialized trainings like sports hypnosis or like I did Casuality Sexual Freedom one a few years ago. I've done a million different courses, and they're all niche type courses. And I don't know everything there is to know about sports hypnosis. I don't know everything there is to know about sexual freedom. And for me, even being around Stuart, like my mind mapping, for me, I love mapping minds with people, meaning that when you're in an environment of other people, our minds start to communicate and map together. And so you don't just get the learning and the education, you also get the environment of being around people that are motivated. And doing Stuart's course, I've learned so much. And Stuart met the Justine that isn't the trainer. He met the shithead. Put it this way, he met the shithead Justine, because like in his training, it's amazing. It's not just because sports hypnosis is not just about sports motivation. It's about getting the player or the person in the right mindset to be able to win. Of course, during the training, he challenged us to go to places that I wouldn't normally go myself. So like even we were talking about sex and stuff before, he got into making sure your relationship is, your relationship with yourself and others is good.
Yeah.
So that you can be at your peak performance. And of course, here comes naughty Justine going, oh, I'm not here for this, being a little shithead, as I do sometimes when I'm kind of having to do things that make me uncomfortable. But
because they are
I
different
think the
modes.
extra is important. Yeah,
they are different modes, because who you are as a trainer and a teacher is different to who you are as a student, is different to who you are when you're a client getting something
100%.
sorted out.
Yeah.
And I think that some of us kind of forget that as therapists. So when we go and get therapy ourselves, because I have students of mine going, oh, I don't want Trish as a client, I don't want to practice with Trish. And I'm like, well, I'm going to go into client mode. I'm not going into teacher mode, trainer mode, or anything like that. I want this. I want to go into full client mode. And I think a lot of people forget to do that.
Yeah.
Step 100%. Out of the I might miss something and learn something, and into the just gain the healing mode.
Yeah. 100%.
So and Stuart has seen a different side of you now. He's seen how you learn and how you
which
grow.
Is a little bit naughty, but yeah. but yeah, and I've learned, like, just even from Stuart's in the last few weeks, I've learned insane amounts of stuff. And like with the when you do extra trainings, it's so important. But yeah, I would always question, like, if someone said to me as a trainer, oh, I don't go and do trainings because I know it all, I wouldn't be going and training from that person, because they're not an open-minded person, and we don't know it all. And we're in the profession. The reason why I love this profession so much is because I'm never going to know it all. It doesn't matter how much, because every time new stuff comes out about the brain, a client will shock you, and you're what the hell?
There is a saying out there, I can't remember it word for word, but it's something along the lines that once the master believes they know it, then they start failing.
Yeah, and then they need to go back to the beginning again. Yeah.
Well, because the student always goes in with the open mind of what if, or why can't we? Where if you're the master, so you're the all-knowing whatever, then you're not open to the what if. So when we get advancements in technology, for example, a great example is when we went from floppy disk to the USB stick. Now, when floppy disks came out, they were gigantic, they were floppy, they had all this carbon, etc., etc. And then they went to a hard case and they just kept getting smaller and smaller. And then the guy who invented the USB actually had a dream about it. So he was like, well, what if we changed up the whole system to like this card with the copper pins and stuff? And I remember like watching a doco and them saying, look, that's not going to work. And he designed it all himself. He put it all the money to prove that it would work. Now, everything has got USB connectivity because one of the biggest things with USB was that not only could it read data, but it could also produce power. So it was eliminating a lot of the stuff that the floppy disk couldn't do because the floppy disk didn't produce power. It just read information. That's all it did. So it made this whole new, complete different design of a product. And that's where I think that there's a lot of people that are trainers that kind of fail because there could be a student that comes in that asks that one particular question that no student has ever asked because their mind is still open and curious.
Yeah. And with your analogy, Trish, the masters at floppy disks aren't the masters at USBs.
Exactly.
And so people might be starting at USB level, and then you've got the masters that started at floppy disk level, and they need to
you need to upgrade,
need to step up and continue learning. And I know that in the computer industry, like my brother was saying, is like you go and learn, but next to the year later, you got to learn again, you got to learn again, you got to learn again, you got to keep going. If you don't, you're miles behind the technology. And I think our brain is the same. It's like even when I first started doing regression, and now we can get the same response within 60 seconds of what you would do normally in a regression. And that's only because we know and understand the brain that we can get the same results so quickly. That's
We're
like upgrading and the upgrading with knowledge. And I think trainers, if there's trainers not prepared to do that anymore, I mean, fair enough if you're retired and you're just training your thing and you're done. You don't want to learn anymore. You're done and you want to relax and have your wine on the beach. Never do it anymore. You know what I mean? You're at the end of your game. You want to just chill out but if you're an active trainer and you're training people and you're there, oh my God, you've got to do. That's why they've enforced CEs for psychologists, counselors, is because you're not. It's not healthy to get. Is it complacent? It's not healthy to be at a space where there's nothing else. Yeah.
And I think also that there's nothing wrong with the student challenging the trainer.
Yeah.
Like me as a student, I'm a difficult student. So big news there, right?
And me, of course.
I'm a difficult student because I want to know the facts, the data, the studies, something along those lines. And I study a lot. I've been told by many people I've got a big brain, right? And I absorb information. And I think there's absolutely nothing wrong with you challenging a trainer and then noticing how that trainer responds. Because I challenged a few trainers and I'm out. It was literally fuck off, Trish. And when I challenge the trainer, at the start, it's always very soft. It's always curiosity. But if it continues on for the next few days, I'm just like, fuck this. Like, let's just, if you're gonna hate me, let's do it Trish's way. Like, I'm really gonna make you hate me. You know what I mean? And that to me is a representation of them and their egotism. They've gone into that mastery mode of only I know, and you cannot possibly have any new ideas. And we've all seen those Disney movies where the master has been there, they've got stuck in their ways, and then the newbie comes along and they give a new idea. The master's like, no, but then the newbie has to go and prove the new idea.
Yeah.
And then
I've caught myself sometime. I know even a couple of weeks ago, one of the students said something and it wasn't in my belief system. So I suddenly came through with no. And then I caught myself and I had to backtrack. And then my brain, and then I was speaking while I was backtracking, rationalizing it. And then my brain came to the conclusion that actually I can see how that works. And then I left thinking, Justine, pull yourself up. And that was a moment of not being open-minded. Whoever, if she's listening, she'll know
it's not
what I'm
a
talking
moment
about. But it was like, at least I caught it and I realized.
But it's not a moment of ego validation, though, where I need to validate my ego. It's literally a moment of, hang on, let's get curious about that.
Yeah. Or pulling myself up going, whoa, by me going, no, I don't agree with that. I was like, hang on a minute, I need to, I actually caught myself.
Need to reassess.
Going, and then put something new into my head, which I'm kind of glad I did catch that and backtrack, because I don't want to be the person that says, no, I don't believe in that, that's why I should walk away. Do you know? Which in the end, I did actually agree with her and see how it worked, because I was open enough to go, hang on, Justine, back up and assess this and think about it. But if I'm ever the kind of person that just says no and walks away, God slap me in the face.
And that's another reason why. So next year in July and in March, I'm going back doing gut-directed training in person.
In New Zealand.
Excited. Yes, super excited.
All you Kiwis, jump on board. Come to Rotorua, stinky Rotorua. It smells like shit. Doing gut-directed. It does. It smells like farts. But anyway.
Don't worry about it. Your room starts to get a bit of the fart smell when you work with gut people anyway. Okay, so it comes with the territory.
Used to it. Yeah.
So, and I think that's another reason why trainers should offer refresher training as well, because it's all about evolution. Because what we now know about the gut and how things have evolved and changed can help you evolve, change, and upgrade. So you might have gone, I've done that training before. But if that trainer is offering a refresher of some sort, then jump on board with it. Not only are you going to be able to network with those like-minded people, like you said, because there's going to be new people coming through, but you can also go, because I've done this myself, where you're like, that's right. Forgot about that one.
The other thing, Trish, is like my students come lots of times. Like I say to them, you can come along to the 5-day portion as many times, and they do. Some of them come 4, 5, 6 times, and they always say to me, you taught different things in this one. And it's like, no, I didn't. It's just we hear them in a different way.
We just didn't pick it up. That's all it is. Yeah. Or sometimes with training, you can go on for like when we do gut directed, it's like 16 hours. So it's full on information. You then get access to your book and all that sort of stuff. And you do have to revisit some of the stuff and then go, there's a step there. I'll tweak that, Yep. So that's exactly right.
Yeah.
That's exactly right. Go and do it again, because there'll be something else that you might have been like drifting off. Because trust me, there are some trainers where you're like,
I think it's quite important that training organisations let students come back. Like I've got an open door policy that anyone that's on the diploma can come back and sit in as many times, just because our brain, like I said, we learn more and you interact with new people and you practice more. And I think it's quite important when you are looking for trainings that people are quite open to that. So being able to sit in again, it's really important.
Yeah, and I think it's honestly necessary. Like I know we have like OPD, CPD points, so continual personal development or ongoing personal development. And I understand that. But also understand that we don't have to do training with the incentive that we're going to go into this niche.
Oh, yeah. For me, it's a hobby too.
Yeah, you can do it out of curiosity, or you can do it because you're like, I like that one little bit. I'm just going to pick that out and put it into what I'm doing over here because I really like that. Or I know that that'll help with that particular client.
I've said to some students over the years that because they're like, I feel really guilty because I'm doing these trainings and I'm not using it. And I say to people, the people that are in our industry tend to love the mind and the connection. And so for me, training is my going to the pub, if that makes sense. It's my going shopping.
I would do that. Yes.
Yeah, and I actually I love the connection with the people while I'm on the training. I love the learning. My brain fires up. For me, the training can be a hobby. I don't have to use every training that I do because I fucking love training. It's actually my hobby And I don't, and like I said to you, you don't have to go on a training just to make money from it or use the techniques. If you actually love training because you love the people, you love the connection, and it's fun,
Just want to network.
it's allowed to be.
Mm-hmm.
It can actually be your hobby and your fun thing as well. You know
And
what I
that
mean? If
and
you
that
love it.
segues to conferences and meetups and
Oh,
things
shit,
like
yeah.
that as well. Like, you don't have to go to every conference or every meetup with the intention of, I'm going to do the training. You do it with the intention of networking and growing the community.
Yeah.
And then you do the training because you want to keep your brain active, you want to keep the network going, but within that niche.
Yeah.
And because you need to grow with your points and stuff. So if you're going to these things and the whole point of it is just to make money, that's the wrong reason, because the money will just come as you grow your resources, you know.
Yeah,
so,
and it's the connection and the like-minded people is awesome.
Yeah, and grow the network and connect with some of those people, because when you're doing training as a student, so you're the trainer normally, but you're the student, you're connecting on a different level with other people that are there. Now, some of those people might just be students, some of those people might be trainers themselves that are students, but you're connecting and growing and you're seeing them in a different environment.
100%.
So go with that, like enjoy that experience, because there are some people that I probably would never do their training. Simple as that. But when I've met them as a student in other training, I'm like, oh, wow, you are completely different. And this is fantastic.
100%. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So that's the whole point. So be the trainer, but also be the student as well, and know 100%. When to switch one to the other.
And I'm going to be a student in a second. I've got the Stu's locker room starting now. So for anyone that is interested, I'm going to give a shout out, because I did spend the last 2 weeks with Stu and he's freaking incredible. And the learnings were amazing, and definitely
come and meet him at Australian Hypnosis Conference. Like, he is just,
if you want to work with top level
people,
if you want to work with top level sportsmen, reach out to him and have a chat, because
but not
I know
only
you have
that,
to interview with him, but he's so cool. Yeah,
I know. Not only that, but when you're standing in Stuart's energy, you know he's top rank. He's the gold medalist.
Yeah,
but he's also really grounded as well.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think I've ever seen the ego in Stuart. You know how some people just resonate that ego, and you're like, well.
No, he's very matter of fact, and this is what I do. And like I said the other day that I was working with a client, and I said to him that I sucked in the stew for a moment, and I was quite this is how it is. What did I can't remember? I didn't say sucked in the stew.
I went in the stew mode.
Really bad. but yeah, I embraced the Stuart mode, where I was a bit firmer and harder than I normally would be. And
still in that
that's
grounded
kind of
way.
in that really grounded way, and that this is how it is, and this is what we're doing, and it's really awesome. So yeah, if people are interested in doing elite sports stuff, it's really worth chatting with him.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, why do we do it? Because it's awesome.
We fucking love it.
We fucking love it. Like, we really do. And there is absolutely nothing wrong with going and doing training that is also to do with your training. So, for example, I do gut directed. I've got no issues whatsoever of going and doing another trainer's training with gut directed, because it can expand out my knowledge. It expands out the network. Same with Heal the Inner Child. Like, I'm doing that next year in July, if anybody wants to attend, with gut directed as well. And I'll do other people's Heal the Inner Child.
Yeah. I've done so much trauma training. It's unbelievable. And I teach trauma because it's fascinating. It's another thing that, like, for me, I'm like a sponge. I just want to learn it all. You know.
And then there's when I'm doing that training, it's never to steal the resources, because there are people that do that. It's never to do that. If I release training and it has similarities to somebody else, then I will give full credit to them, because I'll be like, okay, so this is my adaptation, but please go and do blah blah's training, because they are fantastic, and this is where it stems from. Like, give credit where credit is due.
Yeah, 100%.
And then there are certain, like, say, for example, I do Jungian archetypes with Heal the Inner Child. And then there's other Heal the Inner Child training that I'll go and do. And then say you're doing the training and you're talking about it, I'm like, oh, you might be interested in this one,
Mm.
you know, because you're resonating that language, you're speaking it.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
then
yeah.
off you can go and do that and then blend it into your own criteria for your client.
Yeah.
Like,
Bloody
yeah.
awesome.
So that's why
Oh,
we as trainers keep on training.
yeah.
And that's another
Exactly.
reason why, as trainers, we'll also go and do other people's training so that we can put it on our website so that we can recommend people.
Yeah.
Because we've done some training. Recently, I started some training and the trainer was just completely unethical. There was something wrong with their brain. Like, seriously.
It
And
wasn't me. No, I'm kidding.
no, well, it wasn't you, absolutely. And it was one of those things that when the training was nerfed, I kind of felt relaxed because I didn't have to keep grinding through this crap, like
Yeah.
this complete and utter egotistical bullshit,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
you know? And I was so glad. I was disappointed as well because I'm like, man, I've just wasted like 3 months and I still know fuck all about
Yeah.
what it is that we're learning. You know, why couldn't we have streamlined this?
Yeah,
And
yeah, yeah.
then when it was nerfed, I was like, you know what? I am so glad that I can tell my community no. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah,
and
yeah.
there are some trainings that I've done where I don't like the trainer, but the content is fantastic. So
Yeah.
I will still promote that training and I'll say to my students, yep, go to the training. It's absolutely fantastic. You know, see if you resonate with the trainer. That's usually my wording for when I don't when I
Yeah, yeah,
don't
yeah.
like them. But
And
the
that,
stuff
yeah,
is good. Because
I was going
credit
to
where
say
credit's due.
yeah, if we recommend a course, we definitely like it. Like
Yeah,
I'm
exactly.
really, for me, it's quite important that if I'm going to advertise or talk about something that I know it. Like I do
Mm.
have people asking me, oh, can you put my training on and stuff? And I've never met them and I don't know the training. And
Yep,
for me, I
same.
don't think it's ethical because I'm going to put it out to my community
Mm.
and push it without any knowledge of what I'm actually pushing. So
Yeah.
that's why for me, it's really important that I see it or get to know it or
Yeah, and that's
understand what
why
it is. Yeah.
even us as trainers, so with CHA or HNZ, we will say to those training people, look, can we sit in on your training? Because we
Yeah.
want to know, like, you know, how everything's set up. Are you answering questions for students properly? It's not about us knowing right or wrong. It's about us going, yep, this trainer is really supportive. They've got all
Yeah.
their criteria set out. They were willing to listen. They were willing to provide aftercare services, confusion, frequently asked questions, and things like that. Fantastic. That's why I've gone and done that training.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
You know, so yeah, when you're a trainer, keep doing training
Yep.
and remember which mode you step in and out of as well.
And as for our question, I think it
As
really
for
depends on which house you're talking about. That's all I'll say.
having sex in someone else's house, that's your call. Don't need